please.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me here. And I brought my wife Eileen. She's sitting right there. And she gives me the admonition at every meeting. She said, John, you're like the corpse at a wake. You're essential to the proceedings, but nobody wants to hear that much from you. So I'll be very brief. I am thrilled to talk to anybody interested about money, because I think the story of the county legislature is untold, and it's lost in all the discussions about taxes. First, I want to remind you, if you look at your property tax bill, only 6% of that property tax bill is for your county government operation. In 1994, we saw the financial crisis coming. By that I mean County Executive Scott Vanderhoff, the Democrats and the Republicans on the county legislature. We saw it. We came together. We began to cut, and we reduced the budget for 7 straight years. And we reduced the payroll by 450 people. We were way ahead of our times. Remember what I just said to you. We cut the budget for 7 straight years. We reduced our payroll by over 400 people, between 400 and 500 people. And at the same time, we reduced the county property tax rate to the 2nd lowest in New York State. It's a record that can really not be improved upon. Now, if you ask, how come we're facing a $50 or $80 million deficit, I can explain that with 5 sentences. The first is the rise in the early intervention and pre-kindergarten program. It was in the millions, the tens of millions. Secondly, in the county employee health program and the New York State employee pension plan. It was in the millions, I tell you. And these are state-mandated programs. The last one is so big that people never believe me when I explain it to them. It's our share of the Medicaid program. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Our share of the Medicaid program is more than we collect in county property taxes altogether. You hear what I'm saying? Every penny we collect in county property tax goes just to our share of the Medicaid bill. In fact, we don't have enough, so we have to take money from our other two sources of revenues, which are the sales tax and the mortgage tax. And when the sales tax and the mortgage tax dipped because of the national and state financial crisis, we didn't have enough money to pay our bill. But I tell you, the county legislature, since 1994, has been cutting its budget, and we've been reducing its payroll. It didn't matter how good we were. That tsunami of state-mandated programs was so huge that it put us into the $50 million or $80 million deficit. It's as simple as that. Now, I'm the ranking member of the Budget and Finance Committee, and they know me as the cheapest guy in town. I don't like to pay a dime more than we have to. And as a result, I'm telling you, you have the 2nd lowest county property tax rate in New York State. People will twist that and bend it, and they'll do all kinds of things with it, but it's a matter of record. Now, how are we going to get out of this? Well, for one thing, we're going to have to find the courage, the inner courage, to make cuts where we never dreamed we would make them before. And we're doing it. For one thing, the Rockland County adult home. It's run by the county. It's very expensive. I have a lot of not-for-profit agencies, of which I'm the chairman of the board. I don't get paid a nickel. They all cost me a lot of money. But we do that in lieu of government operations because our experience has been the private not-for-profits can do the service better and cheaper than the government. What evidence do I offer you? My entrance into public life many years ago when I left the Marine Corps was during the Willowbrook scandal. You remember that, any of you? The cost of taking care of our intellectually disabled was out of sight, and they were dying at a premature age, most of them from gagging on their own food. We created private not-for-profit agencies to replace it, like Cam Venture, which I'm the president. We've done it better, we've done it cheaper, we cut the death rate, so we can do that in the county too. County Executive Scott Vanderhoff, who's a marvelous, marvelous executive, he said one of the things we should look at is selling our nursing home and hospital. No one would have ever dreamed of that, and it's like the third rail of politics, but we're willing to look at anything to keep the property tax on your home the second lowest in New York State. Now, I thank you for telling me my time is up. Unfortunately, I have to go to the county. But if you'd like to ask me any questions whatsoever on any subject. Yes, ma'am.
How much time and money are you investing into the fraud that's taking place with Medicaid?
We have had a Medicaid fraud unit for the past 3 years, and I think it's returned about $7 million to us.
Percentage-wise?
I don't have that number in my head, but there is a great deal of fraud in everything that involves human beings. Look at the charities they created for 9/11. The government has found out that 50% of them are fraudulent. You read that in the Times. There's a lot of fraud, but we have to cut the Medicaid down because, like I told you, more than 100% of our property taxes go just to Medicaid.
I'd like to make one statement on, I was there taking a Cambodian for food stamps. While I was there, I think I was the only American at the time, or notably, that spoke English. I listened, someone came in and I heard the worker tell this person, listen, are you sure you sold all your assets? You know you cannot collect Medicaid unless you liquidate your assets. Coolidge Nation liquidates their assets to collect Medicaid. Step number one.
Let me answer that quickly. Most people, they pauperize themselves to make them eligible for Medicaid to go in the nursing homes so that their spouse and their children collect their estate and the government pays for their estate in the nursing home. You all know that. People pauperize themselves. That's state law. State law. Not John Murphy's county law.
I heard, and at the same time, a gentleman came in, and he was a contractor, unionized. You know, some periods of the time he doesn't work, he has to collect. He refused to collect. He was there, he said, with his wife, she was angry, she said, we're collecting food stamps. You worked 40 years, you were entitled. So during the process, he didn't want it, he fought it, he came out, and he was furious. He looked at me and said, you know what? He said, I'm denied. I paid 40 years into the taxes. I'm denied because of what I have. And that is story after story of what I see, that people who paid into a system when they need it can't draw it out, but people who paid nothing seem to soak it up. And I don't always buy the fact that everyone liquidates all their assets. Hide it, yes. Liquidate. So I really think that there's a lot of fraud going on.
There is no question. Let me remind you that the county government has nothing, zero, to say about the criteria for the social service programs we deliver. That's 100% a product of your state government. We implement the social service program strictly according to the criteria established by the state. Do I think there's a lot of fraud? I know there's a lot of fraud. But can we change it? I don't understand why people don't point to your county, your state legislators and say we are giving our money away to the wrong people at the wrong time. There's nobody in this room, no matter how tight you are with spending government money, there is nobody in the Tea Party who wants to see a human being in need. You don't want to see anybody go naked, hungry, homeless, or without medical care. But those people are being deprived of it because the system is being scammed. And the worst place it's scammed is in nursing homes. But you know that. Any other questions?
Yeah, how large is the investigation unit for the fraud?
Well, it's a joint unit, and maybe Tim can help me out. We have a New York State Medicaid fraud unit that's located in Blue Hill. I don't remember the size of it. I thought it was about 60 people, 40 people.
I don't know what it is now.
Neither do I. And then we have a county Medicaid fraud unit, which is much smaller. That's about, what did you say, 12 people?
Yeah, probably close to that.
So all together in Rockland County, we have the state and the county, and together, he's a law enforcement agent, so he would be able to remember that number more than me.
Well, that fraud unit, though, also handles all fraud, the Rockland County unit. And it's probably about 10 officers under the district attorney's office.
Yes, sir.
In the year 2010, how many people were committed for fraud in this county?
You know, I should make up a number, but I'm not good at lying. My wife always catches me. I don't know.
Does anybody in this audience know?
I don't know. Maybe Tim, you can know. I don't know. But that's a district attorney number, if I'm right, Tim? That's a district attorney number. They give us a report once a year. They give a report to the legislature once a year, and it's about that thick. And I don't have the greatest memory in the world for all the numbers in that book.
Thank you, Mr. Ricker.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I'm sorry I have to leave, but I do have another commitment.